Hi, in this video I'm going to be talking about why so many people have a dopamine problem in today's world, the second step that I took to overcome my own dopamine addiction and what helps me day to day, and how you can apply that principle to your own life to change your own habits. And so you can know if you have a dopamine problem if you have an issue with motivation or with just feeling happy. Like, there's a chance that that has to do with dopamine. And the reason that so many people have a problem with these things in today's world is because we as humans evolved in a very different world than the one that we now live in. And so while our needs and values and desires haven't changed, the way that those are satisfied have changed. And the main way that they have changed is the amount of effort it takes to satisfy those needs and values. And so in the past, it took a lot of effort to do things and satisfy those needs. We would do things like hunt, gather, build shelter, take care of our family, raise children, cooking. All these things took a lot of effort. And so that's the environment that our dopamine system evolved in, and it rewarded that effort. It learned to sustain motivation while we put forth effort. And so nowadays we have the same needs and values, but we engage in activities that take little effort, and therefore we don't create that dopamine that sustains motivation. We just consume it very quickly, which leaves us little motivation to do things that actually improve our life. So for example, social connection used to be always in person. Maybe it took some travel time, maybe it involved taking care of children, and nowadays we often do things like scroll on social media to try and satisfy that need of social connection, and that just consumes our dopamine so quickly, and it leaves us with little motivation to actually go and interact with people, for example. Or another example would be our need for progression. And so in the past, that may have looked like working physically, building something, hunting, or gathering food for a tribe. And nowadays we try and satisfy that through these games that give us this sort of very quick progression with video games and mobile games, and it doesn't take much effort, and so it doesn't create that long-term motivation. So I kind of stumbled into this principle when I was trying to change my life and remove the dopaminergic habits like social media, video games, addictive food from my life. I found that the action I took, which was I actually went on a mission trip for my church, I found that I wasn't experiencing the same sort of cravings or temptations to do those old habits now that I was in this kind of new environment, and I was had like this new role. And so I now realize that the reason that is because I was fulfilling the same values I've always had, but I was doing it in a way that is less dopaminergic and more effortful. And so I was still fulfilling the values that I was fulfilling when I played video games or watched social media, things like progression, learning new skills, connecting with other people, but now I was just doing it in a less stimulating way. So as a missionary, I was learning lots of new skills related to talking to people, communication, teaching things about the gospel of Jesus Christ, and I was talking to people all the time, and these things, because they took effort, they increased my dopamine, and I was able to have motivation to actually do more things that improved my life. And so I continued to apply this principle when I got back from my mission trip, started studying psychology and learning skills related to that, started progressing in areas of taking care of my body. And so I took the desires I've always had, which for me personally, a big part is learning new skills and mastering skills. And so if I'm able to act in accordance with that value in a way that requires effort, then I don't feel the need so much to do those addictive things anymore. Like playing video games satisfied that kind of skill value for me. Now, you can apply this principle to your life to help you overcome whatever dopaminergic habit you're trying to change or increase your motivation to do things that are more difficult by understanding your values and needs personally. Now, there's some values that we, as humans, we all tend to share for the most part. Things like social connection, contribution, some sort of progression. And so you can always think about those, like in what way do you want to progress, and how can you connect with other people and contribute. And then there's also our individual values and curiosities. And you can, one trick that you can use to kind of discover these, if it's not obvious to you, is thinking about what about your habits do you enjoy. So, for example, for me, with video games, I realized it was mastering different skills in games. Or you could think about, if social media is something you're trying to change, what do you do on social media? So, for example, if you love watching a sort of sport or exercise content, then that's probably a sign that you would actually love to try that thing out. Or maybe you love watching cooking videos. Instead of watching those videos, it would require more effort to actually try that recipe out and cook it, and that wouldn't destroy your motivation as much. And so those are a couple tips to figure out what are your values, how can you satisfy them in a less stimulating way, and once you do that, you won't feel the need to engage in those highly dopaminergic habits as much anymore, and you'll have more motivation to do things that actually improve your life. And so comment down below what are some ideas that you have after watching this video of how you can replace your old habits. And if you're interested in learning more of the principles I use to overcome my dopamine addiction, then subscribe, because I'm going to be posting a lot more videos in the future. Thanks for watching.